Hello everybody, and welcome back to The Poisonous Feather, written by Lana Fury on Wattpad, and read for you today by Princess Consta here on YouTube. Chapter 2, The Weird People. We had a deal and you dare to do something like that. I trusted you. I thought that you wouldn't lie to me and that we could have been friends. We are friends, I'm sorry, I won't do it again. How am I supposed to trust you? You already broke our promise. You lied to me, Tommy. You betrayed me. Please, I didn't mean to. You have to learn, because we won't have much of a fun time unless you listen to everything I say. I never wanted to be a hero or a villain. I just wanted my home back. Will be. When is Dad coming home? Sorry, buddy, but I don't think he'll be coming back soon. Not today, not tomorrow, and not in the nearest future. We're all on our own. But you won't leave, right? Never. Now go to sleep, Thomas. You need it. I love you, Tubbo. I love you too, Tommy. The best thing for this nation is for Tommy to be exiled. What? But you promised you wouldn't do that. I'm sorry, but it's for the best. Tommy's eyes shot open, breathing heavy and unsteady. His hand gripped his stomach, feeling the burning pain once again. The memory drowned him, making it seem way too realistic. After a while, when the pain lessened, he took the chance to look around. Much to his dislike, everything was white and depressing. That's when he realized he was in a room he never saw before, laying on a white and oddly comfortable bed. His eyes darted to his body, noticing the many weird wires that were connected to his body, leading to weird-looking machines. He tried to wiggle his fingers, only to realize they were bandaged, so he wouldn't move them too much. His legs were also covered in bandages, which looked a little soaked from the blood. The question in his head, how did he get here? What is this place? What the hell happened to him? He looked around once again, trying to remember what happened before he woke up. He was in a cold place. The void, as many called it. And if he was there, then that meant one thing. Dream killed him again. He felt shivers run down his spine, remembering what happened before he blacked out. But instead of the pain, he only felt his body sore, almost paralyzed. Then it hit him. If he isn't in the void anymore, that means he's alive. If he's alive, that means Dream revived him. However, that doesn't help him with finding out where he is and what this place is. It looked so weird, overwhelming almost. He wanted to ask someone, anyone, but he was alone. So, with nothing better to do, he slowly laid back on the bed. Not without feeling more pain, of course. After finally laying down in the white sheets and making himself comfortable, Tommy was able to rest. He closed his eyes and tried to fall asleep, but it was almost impossible with the soreness in his body. Instead, he decided to just lay there and wait for someone to appear. Anyone, really. The room was filled with people. 6 people, to be exact. They sat on different sides of the table, deep in conversation. They were arguing at some points, interrupting each other while speaking and trying to get to the point. One of them sat quietly, analyzing the situation, before he raised his hand in the air, almost immediately shutting everyone up. All eyes were on him, waiting for him to start speaking. He waited a moment before finally opening his mouth. So, you found this kid in the alley, all bruised up and wounded? One of the people nodded, leaning back in the chair. And no one was there who could have seen what happened to him? Or at least someone who saw something suspicious? No, when I got there it was empty. I was just passing the alley, continuing my daily patrol, when I heard a loud thud. I thought it was some villain causing trouble, so of course I went to check it out. I didn't expect to see a kid there. He was laying in the middle of the alley, unconscious, with scars and fresh wounds covering his body. He looked pretty beaten up, so I brought him to the hospital. The other nodded, his hand resting on his chin as he once again began to analyze the situation and what they knew, which wasn't much. "Did they find anything about him in the system?" Another of them shook his head, which caused a small sigh to come from the man. "I wonder what happened that would leave this poor boy looking like this. Maybe he got drunk or something and then got into a fight. You know how kids are these days, reckless and stupid," a man with burning red hair said, a scoff on his face. "Let's not jump into conclusions when we still know nothing about the kid," male with long black hair, dark circles under his eyes, spoke, before taking another sip of his coffee. "We should wait for him to wake up and then ask him some questions." The rest, aside from the redhead, agreed, some of them whispering between each other. That was until someone knocked on the door and another person came in. A tall man with short black hair and an awkward smile. "I'm sorry to interrupt, but the kid's awake and is currently being treated by the doctors. He should be good to talk soon," the man said, bowing his head a little. "Thank you, Detective Sakauchi," the man nodded, leaving the room. "All right then. This meeting is over. We will contact you later to share information. Have a good day for now." They slowly gathered themselves up and left the room, leaving 3 of the 6 people inside. One with blonde hair, well-built and tall. The second was the man who looked like he hadn't slept in years, and the third one had red wings coming out from his back and blonde hair on his head. "You and Aizawa should go, since you're the ones who saved him and brought him here." "Don't scare him too much, Aizawa." The man with blonde hair looked at the tired man, who sighed in annoyance. "Sure, but if I was you, I would worry for myself all night," the man said, leaving the room with the winged male following. All Might leaned in his chair, hand running through his hair as he looked distressed. What could have happened to this kid? Why did he look like someone tried to kill him? And what was he doing there, without parents or anyone to look after him? That was a mystery yet to be solved. When the door slowly opened, Tommy couldn't feel more happy. Finally, someone who could answer his questions and bring him out of this misery. Plus, it was getting boring in the room. The doctors came in and ran some tests on him, which he didn't like at all. Of course, he didn't allow them to take his blood, and after a moment of struggling, they left him alone. One of them told him that someone would come visit him to ask some questions. And at that point, Tommy was relieved since he needed answers. But at the same time, he was terrified. These people seemed so weird. One of the doctors had cat ears, and he healed Tommy's wounds just by touching his hand. What kind of witchcraft was that? Even Philza couldn't do that shit, and Philza knew everything. He expected to see normal people, maybe looking a little weird like the doctor, and there was in fact a normal human. But the other male who entered the room had wings. That means he's also an avian. That's good. At least there was someone who looked a little like him. The man who walked in first looked at him skeptically before leaning on the wall. The avian walked closer, a small smile creeping on his face. "Hello, I see you're awake and in better shape," the winged male said, smiling brightly at Tommy. He looked at him for a moment, not saying anything. While he was staring like that, the winged male slowly started feeling uncomfortable and backed away a little. Who are you?" the kid asked, shocking the older avian. How can you not know who we are?" he asked, wings ruffling a little. "Are you deaf or something, bitch? I asked who you are. What part of this can't you not understand?" Okay, they didn't expect to hear that. And the British accent made it hard not to notice that he wasn't Japanese. But he spoke it so well, which confused them both. "Well, I'm pro-hero Hawks, but you can call me Hawks," he said, smiling a little. Tommy made a confused face, blinking a couple times. The silence that filled the room shouldn't be that loud, but the confusion took over everyone inside. The fuck? Are you serious right now, or are you fucking with me? Tommy asked, glaring at the avian with annoyance in his eyes. What type of bullshit is that? A pro-hero? The avian looked slightly offended, puffing up his wings to look bigger and more intimidating. Where do you come from, kid? How can you not know about heroes? He looked at Tommy, offense still visible in his eyes. The fuck you mean where I come from? Lemamberg, of course. Where else? Tommy scoffed. Silence filled the room. The two so-called pro-heroes staring at the teen who looked back at them with a tilted head. He didn't like the look they were giving him. What, got something on my face? He asked, eyebrows furrowed. Lemamberg? What are you talking about, kid? There's no such place as Lemamberg. Now Tommy was the one who looked offended, arms crossed over his chest. Then where the hell are we? Where am I? He asked, more like yelling. Kid, this is Japan. Musatafu. The black-haired male said, ignoring the teen. Name's Eraserhead. Tommy looked at them shocked, eyes as wide as ever. You're lying, right? It can't be true. I was in Lemamberg. Everyone's in Lemamberg. How the hell did I get here? He said to himself, eyes darting toward the window to look outside. The two heroes could only watch him, wondering if everything was okay. According to the results the doctors gave them, he seemed to be just fine. Why the hell was he talking about some Lemamberg? And what even was that? How? I'm not supposed to be here. I should be back in prison with Dream. If he revived me, then why am I here? Tommy whispered to himself, nails pressing harshly against his skin. Seeing this, Isaiah slowly walked towards the kid, cursing himself in his head. Many might say he was a cold and strict man, but he wasn't just going to stand there and watch the kid who was clearly about to have a panic attack. He knelt down in front of the kid, placing his hand on his trembling shoulder. At the impact, Tommy tensed up and looked up with terrified eyes. You need to calm down, okay? Take deep breaths in and out, the man said, Tommy following his actions slowly but surely. Now focus on something else. Tommy discreetly looked over at the avian male, his eyes darting towards his wings. They reminded him of his own. Maybe a little bigger and much stronger. He couldn't remember the last time he felt the wind between his feathers. Was he still able to fly? He was praying the answer was yes. And even if Tommy was hoping to fly with the man who he barely met, it was his own business. What's your name? Isaiah asked, catching the attention of the kid once again. Tommy, 16 years old. Isaiah nodded softly, before standing up and sitting down on the white bed. Tommy moved his legs a little so the man would have more space. Fortunately, the soreness in his legs slowly disappeared. Can you tell me what you remember? What happened before you blacked out? Tommy looked at him funny before laughing quietly. It came out dry and harsh, his throat begging for water. Hawks gave him a cup of water, which was almost immediately empty. The cool feeling of the liquid made Tommy feel a lot better, helping weaken the pain in his throat. He took a moment to think, before his expression changed into one more painful, sadness filling his eyes. Dream, he killed me in the prison. I think he revived me, but instead of appearing in the prison, I'm here, Tommy said. Killed? What the hell was this kid talking about? He was alive and sitting right in front of them. The black-haired man looked at him funny, almost as if he was considering whether the kid was drugged or not. What do you mean, killed and revived you? Isaiah asked, watching the kid warily. Oh, beat me to death, stupid potato, and used a stupid book of his to bring me back to life. No idea how the shit works, but as you can see, apparently it does. Tommy explained, feeling strong hatred towards the whole situation. Isaiah nodded, extremely confused, but he decided not to ask more, since he could see the kid was uncomfortable speaking about what happened. Instead, he stood up and looked over at his watch. Alright, thank you for answering my questions. Unfortunately, we have to go and take care of some things. Be careful and don't cause too much trouble for the doctors, the tired man said before turning and leaving. Bye, kid! The Hawks yelled before he was dragged out of the room. Bye. That was weird as fuck. These people were weird as fuck. What's Japan? Where the hell is that? As far as he knew, there was no Japan back in Lemamberg. There was no weird technology and all this shit in his room. Everything here was weird, and he did not like it one bit. Where the hell did he get teleported? It was Dream's fault, him and his god complex, but Tommy couldn't help but think that wherever he was, someone surely would notice his disappearance and start looking for him, right? Please get me out of here. And that's where we'll leave it today. I do hope you enjoyed. I would like to say I do still have the sniffles. And any background noise, that's me shifting about because my ADHD does not allow me to stay still. And God, I need a drink of water. My throat is so dry now. Well, I should get going, so have a great day. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.